Hi y'all, welcome to this video, to this channel, JustDabney, where I talk about a bunch of random things because I'm all over the place. You know, I can't focus. But if you clicked on this video, then most likely there will be future videos that you'll be interested in. So just, subscribe. You never know what you're interested in until you see it, right? So this video about moon cycle promptings was voted on by you all on Instagram stories and as the topic that I talk about next on this channel. But the number 2 topic was about numerology and how I decode angel numbers and number synchronicity. So that'll be a fun one. I love numerology, so yeah, that'll be fun. So definitely subscribe if you're interested. These promptings I'm going to give you is really for goal-oriented people that have a specific goal, or maybe they want the universe to guide them on what's the most important thing to focus on for that particular moon cycle. And where this is helpful is because we are very busy. We have a lot of stuff going on. Some of us have multiple side hustles, including, a main job. Some people have multiple creative projects that they're doing at once, but sometimes we are so busy that we miss the signs that the universe is trying to give us as to where we should go next. So I really think it just helps you to refocus and realign with what the universe is trying to make happen in your life. Or if you don't say the universe, you can say God, or you can say, if you focus mainly just on your spirit guides or your ancestors, maybe your ancestors are guiding you to do something, but you feel like, maybe you haven't been paying attention. Then working with the moon phases and your ancestors might, or your spirit guides also might just, allow them to take the wheel to a certain extent, So depending on how you view it, yeah. So that's that. So these promptings will be very flexible, and I'm gonna go into detail how that is. But we also have to understand that we are very complex. We have different birth charts and everything. So focusing only on what sign the moon is in is not necessarily going to be helpful for you. It's going to help you to understand how other people are acting, why certain things might be a little bit more difficult during that moon cycle, or maybe how you can, when certain things come up, how can you use the energy of that sign to assist you in accomplishing your goal. But again, we're all different, and we also have to understand we all have different birth charts. So the signs, the houses, the planets are all interacting in different ways in our birth chart compared to the others, and how they interact with the moon in that particular sign is going to be different. So it might be a bit difficult to understand based off of a general reading on YouTube or something, what to actually focus on. And the other thing I want to say is, the moon asks us to go within, to follow our inner intuition, or our inner guidance, our higher self, maybe, how we feel about things that are going on in our life, and how we feel we can accomplish our goals. It basically asks you to go within to make these decisions for yourself, using the information that you've acquired in your personal life to come up with your intentions and goals, because it might not be anything overtly related to the qualities of the sign that the moon is in, if that makes sense. So how to use these promptings? They're very flexible. You can use them in any way. I particularly do meditation to receive my promptings, and then every once in a while I'll do like tarot and oracle with them. But some people might just want to do, they don't do meditation or whatever, they just might want to do any other divination practices, whether tarot, oracle, I don't know, shells, there's a ton of divination practices. So whatever practice you use to come up with with the answers to these promptings is up to you. But you don't have to do that all. Maybe you already know, maybe some things, particularly the example that I'm going to give you, is very intuitive in terms of how the response to these promptings should be. So maybe you just already know, and that's that. It is what it is. You just do it. So the other thing is the timing. So the timings might be slightly different. I don't necessarily focus on the 3 days before, 3 days after type of thing, and that's because I work with the first quarter and the last quarter, and so it's just easier when I work with the moon phases to focus like from the new moon until the first quarter. So, I'll go into detail, but, formulating your intention or goal to be more specific during that time period. Then the first quarter until the full moon, doing your actionable steps. Then the full moon until the last quarter, you're, seeing what manifested, what is manifesting. Maybe if you are into, like some people do magic or whatever, then maybe you're doing your manifestation work during that period. And then from the last quarter until the next moon cycle, you're doing your adjustments, your accepting of situations, you're readjusting to whatever information you received or whatever happened, and then, releasing and surrendering. So I'm going to go into more detail because it's more to these phases and how I work with them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get into it. The new moon. So the prompting for the new moon, and this is very key. What is the most important intention or goal to focus on during this moon cycle? And why I say this is important is because it's important that you put what is the most important intention or goal. Because like I said, we have a lot of stuff going on, most likely because certain things might not always be necessary at that time. For example, if you have multiple side hustles, they're all going to have a certain goal or something that you have to do. Sometimes those things that you have to do might come so natural to you that you don't even need the promptings. But maybe something that you're going to do is relatively new for you. And so you need to understand what is the path to achieving your ultimate goal. What path is right for you? And so how I think about working with the moon is we have these overarching big picture goals. But how to get there can be very complex. And so when you're working with moon cycles, these moon cycles are helping you to achieve those smaller goals in the way that is best suited for you. And so eventually you'll get here, but the moon, working with the moon phases and moon cycles will help you get there by achieving those tiny steps versus, being all over the place. So that's kind of how I think about it. But anyway, so from the new moon to the first quarter, what you're doing is you're formulating and you're adding details to that intention or goal. So think about it. Whenever you're manifesting something, the guidance is always to be as specific as you could possibly be. For example, if you want a new car, what color is the car? What brand? What type is the car? What's the interior looking like? Things like that. But that's across the board with any type of manifestation. It is possible to be very, detailed with these intentions and goals. And so that's what you should be doing, because if you just have a general goal, the universe can just throw anything at you, but it might not be best suited for you because the universe is like, she doesn't know what she wants, so I'm gonna just you know, throw this at her and see if she likes it, and then she can give me some feedback later. So it's like that. Like, just be specific. Don't waste no time. Like, use the new moon to add some details to your intention or goal. And so I'm going to give an example. So let's say your big picture goal, the goal, you're not going to complete it completely during this moon cycle, but your overarching big picture goal is you want to be an investor, property investor, right? And so, yeah, you want investment property. You want that to be a stream of income for you. That's where you see yourself 10, 20 years from now. But you have a lot of tiny steps in between that you need to do to achieve that big picture goal, especially if you've never even done this before. So then during your, maybe before, around the new moon, you did your meditation or your divination practices, or maybe you didn't. Even if you don't have a particular spiritual practice, still try your best to use your intuition. So in this case, you use your intuition, and then you decided the first step you needed to take based off of whatever your circumstances are, is that you needed to find a housing market. What housing market, should you be looking at? Well, that's your, for this moon cycle, that is your just general goal. But from, the new moon until the first quarter, what you're going to be doing is adding more detail. So, housing markets, that's a very broad term. It can mean a lot of different things. But let's say you come up with the idea that, you really like something in the Midwest, prices are most likely going to be good for you, and then you want a lakefront property. And so the Midwest, we have a bunch of states with a lot of lakes. So the Midwest would be great. And so that's sort of like adding those details into your intention and goal. And so, maybe that's as far as you go. Maybe you don't add any more details, and that's fine, because you're just looking for what housing market to actually look for properties in. Then, by the time the first quarter comes, this is about the actionable steps. So obviously, life happens fast. So especially now, you've probably taken some steps before you've even gotten to the first quarter of the moon. So, at this point, you might have a lot of different ways you can go, a lot of different things you can do, but you just ask the question, what's the most important actionable steps you should take from the first quarter to the full moon in order to achieve your intention or goal? And so this is really about nurturing your intention and goal. That's really what action is, particularly in this case, is you're nurturing what you want to achieve by putting some momentum, some action behind it, So during this phase, maybe you were guided, again, either through meditation or divination practices, or, you're following a list that you got on Google. Maybe the next important step for you to take is to, find you a realtor that specializes in the Midwest region, to decide which states in the Midwest are ideal for you as an individual. Not necessarily what, makes the most sense at this point, but what states do you like? Maybe one of the next steps is to visit these states, or just maybe visit a city that has a bunch of lakefront properties, and kind of assess the culture, things like that. So that's like a form of actionable steps towards your goal. You're nurturing, you're kind of, again, you're putting that momentum behind your your intention or goal. So that's that. During the full moon up until the last quarter of the moon, you're simply going to be assessing the situation. So what has manifested or what will be manifesting from around the full moon up until the last quarter of the moon. And so again, you're just assessing what occurred and what is happening. Maybe there's still some stuff you need to do. Maybe something you wanted to achieve or wanted to have happen during the first quarter hasn't. So then in that case, if you do any manifestation techniques or any magic, maybe you work with herbs or you do candle magic or something like that, then you could do that during, especially closer to the full moon, because that's when the energy is at its peak. So this is the perfect time to do those sort of things, okay? Like, let's get it done. We want to accomplish our goals, you know, it is what it is. It's perfect for that. So work with the full moon in that way if that fits into your spiritual practice. But yeah, you're just assessing what happened. Then you're saying like, okay, maybe what do I need to continue to do in order to manifest this during this period? So for example, you found like a list of realtors or whatever, but maybe you didn't decide on the exact realtor. Maybe you were like interviewing them during the first quarter of the moon phase. But by time you throughout the full moon phase, you ended up finding your perfect realtor. And so you manifested the realtor that's going to assist you in getting the properties. But, maybe during this time, the realtor is so perfect for you. Y'all work well together that they already got the list of lakefront properties that are perfect for you, that are they're unique, so that you can get a vibe of the different types of homes that are available, or the different styles of home that are available along the lakefront. So you got a list of very unique properties. Then you decided on the states that you like after you have visited some, or maybe even down to the cities that you like. The other thing is receiving advice. So information is also, like, getting information is also a form of manifestation. So from working with the realtor, you have your list of states in mind, but then they gave you some advice about taxes in these different states, like what states are best for investment properties on lakefront, which ones are going to be the least expensive, what's these housing markets. It's going to be ideal based on, your financial or your whatever situation you are in. So that's that. You've manifested the realtor, the list of properties, the states that you or states or the cities that you prefer, or you just manifested the advice on which states are the best. Again, receiving information is also a form of manifestation, or receiving communication, you can think about it that way as well, is a form of manifestation. So that's that. And then from the last quarter into the next moon cycle, this is all about your accepting what has been given to you, and then based on that, deciding what you need to give up, release, let go, surrender, or what you can readjust, what you can tweak. So it's all about like reflecting and then transforming it to be more ideal for you, because we have to remember, like, not everything we manifested is going to be what we wanted, like what we thought we wanted. And so then we have to transform the situation to be best suited for us and to our new thoughts of what we want, basically. So again, with this housing market example, I should have picked a better example, but whatever. So you're reflecting on the information that the realtor gave you. And so now you're thinking about taxes and everything. So then you're like, okay, I thought I wanted to be in Illinois, but they're not investment property friendly. Their taxes are high. They don't even have that many lakes compared to a Michigan or a Missouri. So I'm gonna scratch Illinois off. But so that's a form of readjusting, accepting the information that you were given. Hopefully you fact checked it, but just in general, accepting the information you've been given, the advice you've been given from the realtor, and then you're adjusting what you thought you wanted. It's similar. Let's say you after visiting these lakefront properties and like kind of seeing what the culture is, what the vibe is, maybe during that period, it's like sometime along this journey of during this moon cycle, you like visited some friend's house that was along a river, and then you're like, oh my goodness, like the vibration of a river, the flow, the people that gravitate towards living by rivers, maybe that's what you wanted. And so now during the last quarter, you're kind of reflecting on all that happened, and you're like, okay, when I look back, like how I felt when I was at somebody's home along a river was more suited for me than when I was at a lakefront property. And so then now you're telling the realtor to start looking for riverfront properties. And yeah, so you're readjusting and you're transforming the situation in that case, because now you have a slightly different thing that you want to accomplish, like slightly different from your original intention or goal. So that's that. What else? And so, yeah, it's kind of all about readjusting, because again, what we thought we wanted might not end up being what we wanted, really. So yeah, readjusting is a big part of this last quarter. And then, but assuming, let's say you achieved everything that you wanted to achieve and even more than that, then just the last quarter is just asking you to surrender to the fact that you will find and get this, and well, in this case, you will find the perfect housing market for where you want to buy this investment property, and just surrender to the situation, relax, take a breather before you move on to the next step in, or maybe you want to continue this into the next moon cycle, or maybe not. So yeah, you just relax, you got most of the work done, and now you can let the realtor do the rest of the work, basically. Yeah, that's how I work with the moon. It's like, with the different phases of the moon. And as you can see, when I went through the example, it's very flexible. And that's because the energy from the different moon cycles, it will wane over time. And so you're not necessarily going to be directly transitioning from one energy to the other on the specific day that the moon is moving into a different phase. You're going to be transitioning. So some of your actions and your manifestations might be occurring at the same time. There's going to be like that gray area or that gradient area. I don't know what to call it. But yeah, so that's that. And then and you can see like how flexible it is on timing, but also the prompting. So again, if you had achieved everything that you needed to achieve, then maybe your prompting is all set, and then you could just ask like, okay, is there anything else that I'm missing? Like, is there something that I'm not aware of that I need to readjust or release? Or is there anything left for me to do? Any last minute things to tie up that I'm not aware of or that I'm not seeing right now? And so, yeah, then that could be your last quarter prompting, instead of just, you know, kind of assuming right off the bat that there's something that you need to readjust, you know. So, yeah, it's flexible. So, I hope this video helped you in any way. Let me know if you have any questions, any details. I wouldn't be surprised if I left something out, but this video is getting long. So, yeah, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, bye.